days, I'll gladly defer, but I did take part in some of those events.
Others?
Keep Cape Beautiful. I'll talk on that just a touch.
Okay. Anything else?
I'll just mention the tour of the LST at during Heritage Days, and an observation from my neighbor who was lucky enough to have a flight in the B-17. So I'll give you his experiences. That's all.
Great. From staff, I think we will talk about ICMA meeting that Molly and I went to. I'll kind of cover some of the general things, and then she may want to talk about something. But you all need to know that Molly did do a presentation as far as the ICMA is on the international meeting. She made a presentation, I believe, on day 2. Will
we see that presentation?
Well, if you ask, I bet she could share that with you.
The format was done as a facilitated discussion, facilitated by a city manager from Colorado, but so we did not have a formal. We did not have a formal PowerPoint presentation.
But it is all things that you know about. She talked about how smaller cities are doing customer service in innovative ways that they are addressing customer needs. And so she talked about the transfer station and many other things that you all have been involved in.
The title of the session was Rethinking How Small Communities Deliver Services. And so the overarching theme from all of the panelists was the importance of partnerships. So that was what we talked about.
Another item I'll share is that leaf collection started today. And so we have our first day behind us. You won't see the map being updated until in the morning as far as what route we've been over, but that will be updated in the morning. And then the police groundbreaking will be October 12th at 9:30. So we'll share those items unless you would rather share them. If not, all right. Well, everybody can jump in. We have plenty of time, I believe. There are 3 public hearings tonight. The first one will be a public hearing for rezoning at 423 North Broadview. This is the Happy Tales addition, and the change in zoning is from M2 to C2. The second public hearing is about apartments, about 600 apartments that are going to be put at the end of Lexington Avenue at North Sprague, and changing that zoning from R1 to R4. And then the third one will be a special use permit for a kennel for Deer Creek Doggy Day Camp at a special use permit for that. I believe we had one, since planning and zoning isn't here tonight, I believe we had one person came to that meeting, a neighbor, and asked for an additional restriction, and I think planning and zoning accommodated that restriction, if I remember correctly. So that's what's before you tonight. So we have those 3 public hearings. Depending on if there's any comments or not, you might want to go, those are items 18, 19, and 20 in the new ordinances.
I didn't see any comments based on the P&C hearing. Was there any public engagement on especially on the development on Lexington Street? There were no appearances like that. There's no feedback from anyone in the neighborhood.
I don't believe there were at planning and zoning. I did hear from one, from Councilman Azura. He said he had questions about it from his neighborhood, but they didn't formally have anything, and unless they come tonight, they didn't register anything formally with him. So I don't believe there were also any at Happy Tales. So those are those 3. The consent agenda tonight, item 5 and 6 are second and third readings of no parking regulations. We went back to look at those. These are some cleanup of those regulations to reflect what is currently out there on parking limitations on West End Boulevard and Highland Drive. If you remember, several years ago, we added those parking restrictions within that historic district. Number 7 is a record plat for JD's Place. This is just off Randall. Takes two lots and takes a portion of those 2 lots and then puts a new lot in between two houses. There are some exceptions on that one, but it's at 2519 Masters for that record plat. Then number 8 is a record plat for Farrar Drive. This takes from 1 to 3 lots, including the new conference center. Number 9 is a record plat for Independence Village. This is where the venue and all of that is. It's reconfiguring that to make 2 lots out of 1. Number 10 is the resolution authorizing the awarding of the contract to J&D Turf for the Shawnee Sports Complex renovations. I believe Scott and Kate are here if you have any questions regarding that item.
So given that it came in about 100,000 less than the initial expectation, do we have a plan for that 100,000, or is that going to go back into general PRS availability depending on what we decide in the spring going forward?
The overall for the whole project was right, is going to be right about 900,000, which I think what was originally budgeted for. So the initial portion, phase 1, that's going to be going on this fall, that was, which I'll be honest, I'm not sure if it was $100,000 less than the overall.
Was 480 to 375 is what it looked like in.
Yeah, that's for the 375 is for the phase 1, which will be going on this fall. So the overall for the whole project is right at 890,000.
So it's not a reduction in the overall cost, it's just a reduction in what's in this phase? Or do we not yet know for sure?
I'm not aware of it being a reduction in overall cost that I'm aware of.
The project budget's $899. I haven't seen the comparable. We had to divide it out for 2 years, but I think it's right on what they said it would be for 2 years.
And we'll double check that. Certainly the idea would be if we have any underruns, then we would roll them back into that available pot of money.
Okay, that was my question. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
A good question. Number 11 is a license and indemnity agreement. This allows the gates to install a monitoring well on the right of way a little further down there at 2148 in William, and this is at 2161 William. It's a 2x2 concrete with a manhole over it. So the monitoring well, I assume, is for monitoring the water for some kind of contaminant or something. But it's a requirement of them. So all they're getting is from us is a license and an indemnity agreement to hold us harmless should anything happen with that. Number 12 is a temporary license agreement with D&D. This is properties just east of the fire station 2, and this allows us to stage those materials from there as we do that addition to fire station 2. Any questions regarding the consent agenda or any of the other items you'd like to have removed from the consent? If not, we'll go through new ordinances. 13, 14, and 15 are all tax bills, asking you to issue a special tax bill for properties of which we previously have performed demolition on. These properties were condemned in 2015. The condemnation order came down in December of 2015, and then the demolition happened. So now then we are setting the tax bills on each of those properties. 929 Walnut, 1010 Hickory, and 1005 Locust. So it's 13, 14, and 15. Number 16 is correcting a permanent stormwater easement at Forest Hills Estates. When they were looking at the plat, there's a plat later on. They found out that there's a detention basin and some drainage easement on there, and it needed a correction. And so this performs that correction on that previous permanent stormwater easement. Number 17 is the special warranty deed for the Priest Living Trust. This is property that is just west of Fire Station 1. There is a house on that. We were able to procure that lot and house for $12,000. And so this allows us to accept that special warranty deed. And badly needed for additional property there for Fire Station 1. So that's
Just for parking lot usage, there's no structure at this point.
well, there's a structure, but I think they're gonna,
Oh, right, yeah.
I think they're gonna burn it down and use it as a training. 18, 19, and 20, we've already covered, as those are the public hearing items. And then 21 is that record plat of Forest Hills. They're off Sprigg. And then 22 is the ordinance that authorizes the city manager to execute permits for projects involving Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission right-of-way. We do permits on right-of-way a lot, or not a lot, but infrequently. But when we do, then we have to come to council each time. Highway and Transportation Department came up with an idea of, I guess they've used elsewhere, where you just give a continuous authority for the city manager to do that. So that's what this does. But the reason it's an emergency ordinance is because we need to get one done for the VMD Phase 3A, and that's the one out by the indoor sports complex where they're starting to put in Veterans Memorial Drive, and so we're encroaching on that right away and need to sign a permit for that. So this is being a emergency ordinance. It will it meets the criteria, our attorney has said, and it will require 5 votes. So it will require all the votes to pass.
Technically, an emergency measure, if it meets those standards, has to have 5 votes if there is greater than a quorum present. So if no one else showed up and all you had was the quorum, then you can pass it with 4 votes.
4 votes. Thank you. I'd forgotten that part.
Yeah. It's one of those interesting tidbits.
Yes. Well, I was getting a little nervous, so it makes me less nervous. Thank you very much. We have no appointments tonight, and just a reminder, we do have 2 appointments coming up. And there are 2 memos regarding the Parks and Rec Advisory Board, as well as the Planning and Zoning Commission. And then the advisory board minutes are also attached for your use. I believe that's all I have, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
I might mention that we were going to do a beautiful property of the month tonight. However, the participants in that couldn't attend, so it's been postponed to the October 17th meeting. And we have no items for closed session tonight. And this is an unusually quick study session unless anybody has something for the good of the order, or if the staff has anything we missed. If not, then we will adjourn until the 7 o'clock regular meeting. Meeting adjourned.
Very good.
We don't know who these people are until we get there, until we start talking to them, verifying them. So the high risk is there every time an officer. Several months ago, Do It Best Corporation offered warehouse tools for training. So she feels we organized this training event. 2 weekends. It was countywide. Pedro County Sheriff's Department, Jackson Police Department, Pedro Police Department, CPDs, officers came down and these 7 circuits of training, which is 7 different training areas, focusing on high priority, high impact, and basically high threat levels of officers. We conducted, like I said, 7 different circuits, including building searches, stairwell clearing, emergency medic pack, weapon retention, searching and handcuffing suspects, and then force, as well as building searching and stairwell clearing is one very risky situation for an officer to go into. whether it be in a warehouse or whether it be in a residence. An unknown. They don't know what's behind that door. They don't know what's around it. They don't know what's up those stairs. Dealing with those situations are something that officers
It's not the cheapest stuff in the world.
every time.
If you do that, then
So, Jackson says officers. To show the best practice, to show how to move through a hallway, how to move into a room, to look in certain areas and search those areas to make sure that there is no threat to the officer or to the citizen. Another circuit that we went through, and officers went through, is pertaining to the use of a medic pack. Officers are wearing all the time, under the uniform, on their vest. This emergency medic pack was purchased with restitution funds from Kidron County. For all the officers inside of these medic packs are tourniquets, gloves, things like that. These are for an officer if they are injured in the line of duty. There's been a lot of attention given to officers and how many officers are every year, whether it be from a gun or some other weapon. We felt that it was very important to address that situation because up until this point, without the CART funds, we would not be able to have been able to afford to purchase these several $1,000s worth of emergency medical packs for these officers. Officers are trained on how to use these tourniquets, how to use the quick clot that's in these medic packs to stop bleeding. It was addressed more so as basically an officer is in a fight. He is active, he is actively the suspect, and then there's how he can address himself, on himself, or address injury these medics that came about by realized over there that these military officers were carrying a small medic pack all the time for the sheer fact of what happens if they're injured, what happens if they need to administer first aid. So he brought that knowledge to us and said, hey, let's look at something that the officers can carry with them all the time. Not in the car, not in the